Welcome back to another episode of the Screen Addicts podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, New York.
New York.
I'm going to try that again. Welcome back to the first episode of the year of the Screen Addicts podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, New Year's Steve Sosa.
And I am your other co-host, Chris, Year of the Dragon Vegas.
That's kind of badass. I respect that.
2024 is the Year of the Dragon.
What was it last year? Wasn't it the pig?
I don't remember. I don't think it was a pig. I don't know what it was, though.
Oh, I thought you were like all deep within the mysticism of Chinese mythology.
No, I just looked that shit up before we started recording.
That works too. And I also like to thank you for just hitting the record button. I like that, man. I'm an improv actor by nature, Chris. You think you're going to throw me off? Man, I'm ready. I've been ready.
Technically, you did get thrown off. Because
yeah, that's true. Damn it. You know what? I'll keep that in because the listeners deserve to hear everything from us.
Your true, authentic self.
Authenticism is key. Our ups, our downs, everything all around.
We don't want Cat Williams coming at us, so it's fine.
Oh my God, is he?
We can talk about that later, for real.
Yeah, we definitely should. But so okay, like I said, this is the first episode of the new year. We have been super busy and not to lie to you, a little bit lazy because the holidays, man, they hit hard. I don't know about you, but they hit me hard. And it was funny because one week was Christmas, the next week was New Year's, and then the week after that I had like this funky flu thing, and it would have sounded terrible. Oh, I guess I could have sounded like Phoebe on Friends when she got really sick or something. But
sexy
I don't know.
Voice.
Right, but I didn't want to brave that. So then that happened, and then I'm just like, man, we keep getting this thing pushed off. And there was we had to deal with tornadoes earlier this week when we were supposed to record and release this episode earlier this week. But yeah, man, Panama City Beach is it's taken the brunt of some storms in the last 5 years, man. It's crazy over here.
Yet you still just live there. Like, move already, bro.
Hey, man, you want to set me up in your nice crib? I could more than be welcome to come in and be a house guest.
You don't got no more kids at the house. Just come on, you and Sonia, let's go.
I mean, I still have Connor. Can we bring Connor?
He's an adult now. He find his own job, find his own place.
See, it was going to take you to be the one to make him fly from the coop. Yeah, but so all of that stuff was going on, and I'm just like, okay, let's just do it. And we got it. We finally got it going on. So this episode, we're not actually going to be doing anything specific because in this month off hiatus, we are actually going to be talking about just the things that we've watched because, of course, I have always a list, but you yourself have promised that you have a list of things that you've been watching too.
It's no Cinema Steve type of list, but it is more than just my typical one or two things. But, if you know me, like, I'm not like, it's hard for me to be like you and watch multiple things at once. Right. Once I start a show, I have to finish it before I move on to the next one. Mm-hmm. So this last couple of weeks, like I've started mini-series, 8 episodes. That's all it is. Okay. So I've burned through a couple of those, and they've been fun. So, and we'll talk about them later for sure. So,
yeah, and we're gonna go and pretty much, like I said, we're not gonna have a main topic. Have a couple of headlines, not too many. This is kind of going against the norm too. Basically, I really wanted to talk to you about the Golden Globes this last week. Did you watch them by any chance? Catch any highlights or anything?
I caught highlights, and the one thing that I keep reading about and keep getting the highlights from is that poor bastard Joy Coy, man.
Dude, that was bad.
Poor guy.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
It was bad, but I feel bad for him because, I mean, from what I read, he only had gotten the job like 10 days prior or 2 weeks prior.
Sure.
Any comedian or comic worth his salt, man, it's going to take a little bit longer to write some good quality material.
But in the defense of that, like, or not the defense, but in the opposition of that, I mean, you are a comedian by trade. Like, this is your profession. You're able to write jokes. I mean, 10 days, you can't think of like better jokes than that in 10 days. Like, it's not like he had 24 hours notice, like 24 hours notice. Hey, we need somebody on the stage, which is odd anyway, because the Golden Globes, have never really been the typical awards ceremony that always had a host. Ricky
Mm-hmm.
Gervais kind of popularized it, within the last few years because of just his brash monologues and his just, sensational undercutting of all of the stars in the room, just like his brutal banter basically. And people really like that. And so they were like, oh, well, the Globes are like, oh, well, we just always need hosts. I'm like, no, you could just use Ricky Gervais every year if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But the fact that they put such an emphasis on the host this year was kind of crazy. I'm like, well, this isn't the Oscars. Now, the Oscars is the awards show that typically has the big host and has the big numbers. And like I said, the guy came in 10 days ago. Okay, 10 days seems like you can't think of a couple of, I mean, it's just one monologue. Like, you can't write a
Yeah.
decent monologue in 10 days. You're a stand-up comic. Like, if you needed to, like, you cut your teeth on the circuit by going in doing open mics, you get called in for fill-ins the day of, and then you have a set. And I don't know, that's why I always thought, or that's why I think that kind of, like, it's kind of crazy. Like, I did say like 24 hours would be a little bit rushed,
Right.
but man, but the jokes that he said were just so bad, dude. I'm
They
like,
were horrible,
they were
man. They
bad.
were
And
bad.
people were getting offended or whatever. They were like, I don't know. I wasn't offended by what he said. I was just offended by how bad the comedy was. It's like that line in Seinfeld where Bryan Cranston's playing the dentist who he's like, I think he converted to Judaism just so he can tell Jewish jokes. And he's like, does that offend you as a Jewish person? He's like, no, it offends me as a comedian because he's not funny. But it's just it's
Mm-hmm.
something like that. But I don't know. That was pretty rough, man. It's just one of those cringy moments that as a viewer you kind of hope happens because man, we just by nature love train wreck entertainment. And man, that opening monologue, I was just telling Sonya, I was like, man, this is bad. Like, this is rough. And I'm like, why am I pity laughing some of these things? He can't hear me. He needs the people in the room to do it. And Sonny was asking me who he was. I'm like, I only know him from that movie he released last year, which is that Easter Sunday. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't watch it. I don't think a lot of people did, but and yeah, he's a stand-up comedian and stuff, but
Yeah, I've heard the name. I've never really like even YouTubed any of his stand up or anything like
right.
that. So it's still a pretty new name. I guess he's been around for a while though.
Yeah.
Um,
Which
so
makes it worse too. I'm like, man, you should have had this in the bag. You're not like a new up and comer here.
they
And
should have called Cat Williams up.
oh my god, he would have just lit everybody up. Dude, his 1 to 3 minute TikToks that I've watched of him and him just like unloading everything is so much more entertaining than anything else I've seen this
Dude.
week. It seems it's just it's crazy. But to be that vocal is good because he's at a position in his career where he's made his money. He doesn't give a shit what anybody thinks or what anybody
Mm-hmm.
can say or do to him at this point. He's like, what are they going to do? Blacklist him? He doesn't give a shit. He's rich. He doesn't care.
Yep.
But that's pretty crazy. But aside from that, the Golden Globes, they were pretty standard fare. I think there was a lot of the winners that won, like Oppenheimer, pretty much cleaned up all the major
Yeah.
drama categories, which I figured it would. But then, um, what was it? Like some of the acting awards, especially for The Bear, like The Bear winning comedy and musical. And I've had a lot of people on Instagram and Facebook posting about, hey, I love this show, but it is not a comedy or musical. And it's kind of like what we said when we covered the nominations. It's like the Golden
Yeah.
Globes want to fit in all of these shows, so they don't care if it is or not. They'll wedge it into a category just to have it there, which is stupid. I'm like, just extend the nominations for drama. Make 10 drama nominations if you have to. Like, you don't have to put a drama movie in a comedy or musical just because you want it in there in the ballot. It's so dumb. But
And honestly, I mean, to me, it kind of gave it a unfair advantage to win in that category.
right,
I mean,
exactly.
you get some laughs.
Mhm.
That show, The Bear, there is some hilarious ass parts.
Well, sure.
100%. But to deem it as a straight comedy, no, absolutely not. Like, there's a lot more deep shit drama going on in that show than there is comedy. But so to put this thing, I know we beat this horse to death, when we talked about nominations in this,
Mm-hmm.
but man, I'm still glad it won. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
deserves recognition. It's
Sure.
to me, it's probably one of the best shows on TV.
Oh yeah.
So shout out to them. Good wins. I liked them. I liked them both. So
Yeah, not bad. Okay, well, I guess really we'll move on to the Oscars later on. And I
mm-hmm.
also have been getting some notes from people asking what our top 10 movies are. And I was telling them that we're going to do that later on in the month because we're in particular areas that don't get all of the nominated pictures until
Yeah.
closer to the award season, like Oscars and stuff. And it's just because of our geographic standing that we don't get all of these like Zone of Interest, Anatomy of a Fall, these like award caliber movies
Yeah.
that I haven't had the opportunity to watch, or neither have you, I'm sure. But so we always extend our best of uh the previous year, like kind of towards the end of January, maybe beginning of February, just so we have the opportunity to watch more of the movies that came out last year. Because
Mm-hmm.
I already have a list of like 21 movies, man, and I still have to see like 6 more. And I don't know how I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be crazy. I might do 2 for every one of your one.
I had man like as my nickname is TVVA is I watch a lot more TV than I do movies.
Oh, sure.
But I've watched some movies, but man, I have to go back and like look through list and make sure, oh, I did see that. Oh shit,
Hmm.
okay, I do remember that. You
Yeah.
know, my memory isn't as is what it was before, man. Getting old.
Yeah, that's why I always like make a note in my phone. Like if it's something that's really really good, I'll
Uh,
already have like in my notes like a top 10 list or a top movies of
a
whatever
running
year.
list, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right. So I had like 36 of them on there, man. And
Damn.
there were a bunch on there that I was like, okay, yeah, these were just basically it was just movies that I thought were really really good. But I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, to make a top 10 though, I don't know. And I am previewing this. I don't know if Oppenheimer's gonna make it, dude. Like, there's some movies on my
Wow.
list that like because it's not what these lists aren't comprised of what are the best movies from a critical standpoint. These are
Correct.
movies that we personally loved or we were personally affected by in the last year. And I don't know. I think it's a really great movie. It's one of Nolan's crowning masterpieces, but I don't think it's his best movie, but I don't know. We'll get to it when we get there. But yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
towards the end of January, maybe early February before we get our top 10 list out there. But before then, if you do you have anything to share about your holidays, or I mean, did you have a
Oh,
standard
nothing,
fare?
nothing, man, nothing too major. I mean, we
That's good.
kept it low key this year.
Yeah.
Stayed here at home and just kind of hung out. And the the fam gets 3 weeks off of school, so
3 weeks?
oh
When the
yeah,
hell did
dude,
that start?
dude,
3 weeks?
started
What are they
like.
in college?
So yeah, man, I think it started like 3 4 years ago, man. 3 weeks, they get 3 whole weeks
Wow,
for
that's
for
bullshit. We only
Christmas
got
break.
what, like two, one and a
Two,
half sometimes.
yeah,
Wow, that's crazy. 3 weeks. Man, these
yeah.
kids are spoiled these days, man. That's too much time off. I need to
Dude,
stay in the
it is. Then and that's the part of like being lazy and being hard to record because whenever we record, like it's a little bit earlier because the boys have to get to bed for school, and
yeah.
I'm like, okay, now the house can be quiet and I can
Yeah.
record, but with 3 weeks off, man, Maddox playing Fortnite until 4
Yeah.
a.m. and I'm like,
Oh
dude,
yeah.
go to bed, bro.
Yeah. Man,
So,
it's funny because like Connor has these nice headphones and stuff. So whenever he's playing something, man, he'll just pop them on, and luckily for us, we don't hear anything. And he'll be up like same like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and then
mm-hmm,
he'll come downstairs because I work from home now, and he'll come down if he's not working that day, and about 12, 1 o'clock, and I'm like, hey man,
mm-hmm.
he's like, hey. Like, you just wake up? Yep. I was like, yeah, it sounds about right. But I
Jeez.
mean, we were all there too. Like, we
Oh
were up
yeah.
late all the time when we were, especially like in college, man. There were times where we just wouldn't even go to sleep, and oh, not anymore. I have to get
Mm-mm.
some shut eye, man. So Well, that's good though. I'm
Yeah,
still surprised by the 3 week thing. That is crazy because it's only 2 weeks here in Florida, like the Florida
yeah,
school. So I guess it's a state mandate there. But yeah, that
yeah.
is crazy, and no
It's a
wonder
lot
you
of
did.
time.
But people get stir crazy, like The Shining, up in that
Oh,
place.
dude,
They
I,
get sick of
I'm
each other,
I'm thankful like we didn't have snow or anything like that. So I mean, we could actually get out and do
and
shit,
leave.
dude. If we were snowbound, oh hell no! It's just like fucking COVID lockdown again.
Yeah. Oh man, that was so crazy. It's
Mm-mm.
like all work and no play make Chris a dull boy.
Yeah, it was a relief to go back to work.
Yeah.
So,
Sounds
what
good,
about you,
man.
man? How was your holiday, bro?
No, it was same. Madison actually got to come home, so we were here,
Mm-hmm.
and she was splitting her time at her in-laws' house and our house, and of course, we were trying to hang on for dear life, and it just,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was great having her home, and we were hoping she was going to get all the way through New Year's, but with her schedule and her husband's
Mm-hmm.
schedule, it just didn't work, so they had to go back home a little earlier. But yeah, same with New Year's too, man. We were playing Life, the Haunted Mansion version of Life, and we missed the ball drop, the countdown, everything because
Damn.
we were so into the game. We started at like 10:30 or so, and we were like, okay, we should be done by midnight, and we'll have the ball drop, maybe watch them or go to sleep. But we were playing the game, and every time I start Life, I'm looking at the game, and I'm like, man, this game is going to be so kind of boring. Like, this is goofy. Like, why? But then, man, we were just so into it. And then we started getting texts on our phone like, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. You're like, damn, we missed the ball drop because we were so into the game. And then we are like, well, yeah, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Okay, back to the game. So we didn't go to bed that night until like 2:30. We didn't finish that stupid
Oh,
game. But
damn.
man, yeah, we were into it, man. It was fun. And it goes to show, like, we have like 5 versions of Life, and Sonia actually reorganized our game shelves, and we have like 13 versions of Monopoly, man. 13 of that game. It's crazy. But
Too much, bro.
yeah, a lot of fighting too in those games. But yeah, other than that, man, watched a lot of stuff. Just like, I guess we can
Yeah,
go ahead and get started because I know
yeah.
our list is it's pretty actually, mine's not that bad. I kept it pretty mild here, and
Yeah.
basically, because I watched a lot of like random movies to start, like old movies that
Hmm.
like, for example, a movie like Phenomenon with John Travolta. Do you remember that movie
Oh,
where
yeah.
he gets those like magic power, not magic, but like special powers and stuff? Sonya
Right.
had never seen it, so I was like, oh well, I'll fire this one up, and we watched it. Stuff like that, like, I kind of omitted from my list. I just wanted to talk about the big
Newer
ones.
stuff. The
Yeah.
newer stuff. Yeah.
And well, I mean, I'll go ahead and start off with the first one, and we'll
Okay.
swap, just because, like, yeah, I only have like 8 things here. I whittled it down to 8 because I don't want this to be like
Nice.
a 3-hour episode or anything with no
Okay.
topic. Like, that would be great. But the first one that I wanted, that I especially wanted to talk to you about, was Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Saw that the day it came out.
Mm.
I was excited. I,
Hmm.
I think it
Hmm.
looks good. And you know what? The movie was good. I really enjoyed it. And it, it doesn't, it's just kind of weird to watch DC movies right now because they're not going to go anywhere. And man, that movie tanked so hard. It was the
Hmm.
lowest grossing opener for any of the DC movies this year. It only made $24 million on a $250 million budget. It was just a disaster beyond any comparison. And it's just like,
Damn.
man, that is so, like, announcing the James Gunn universe, it was just the dumbest thing to ever do because without that, people can just assume that these movies are going to lead somewhere. So it makes them want to invest their time to watch it if they think that the journey is going to continue onward into
Hmm.
another Justice League or anything else. But it leads to nowhere. The post-credit scene was silly. It had nothing to do and I mean, it had to be what it was because it wasn't going to go anywhere else at this point. It hits the wall, like literally the wall, because it is the last Snyderverse DC movie. And another thing that I wanted to mention about it that I thought was kind of funny was the whole Amber Heard situation of everything, right?
Uh-huh.
What were they saying about this movie? They were talking about how Amber Heard was going to be removed from the film as much as possible, right? And you weren't going to see her, but in a couple of scenes. Amber Heard was in that movie pretty much throughout the whole thing. And what's crazy about it is that you see her a lot and you see her doing things and you see her doing important things like her character. I mean, because she has to. Like, she's his queen. They have a baby together. So it's like, but the one thing that they penalized her for was they gave her no lines. Like, she never says anything. So she almost becomes like a mute. And like, with no words to say to go along with her big actions of heroism, it just makes it look so weird. And I'm like, that was what you were thinking people were gonna, you take her lines away? Like, you just don't make her talk? Like, that's the, what? If you're gonna have her in this movie, just have her in the damn movie. Like, that was so dumb. And when you watch it, you will see like what I'm talking about. Like, she just like stands around looking around like she's lost because you don't know what she's thinking or what kind of emotion she's trying to convey because she's not talking. It's just, it was so weird. And her being in the movie, I didn't care. I'm going to go see it anyway. Like, I don't give a shit about any of that stuff, you know?
You know what she's thinking, right? The whole time as she's looking around, she's where the fuck is Jack Sparrow?
Yeah.
That son of a bitch.
Is he's going to be floating around somewhere? I mean, probably. But I was just like, man, this is so bizarre. And dude, like, not to give like spoilers or anything, but she does something so significant in the end to help defeat the final bad guy. And I'm just like, okay, she does this big thing, and then it's like, but she doesn't say anything before or after the event. I'm like, this is so weird. Like, I don't know. It was just such a, that made the whole thing bizarre. It's like either omit her completely from the film, or if you're gonna keep her in that much, keep her lines. Like, don't edit out her lines. Like, this is so stupid. Like, I don't know.
I mean, you know, more than likely going into this damn movie is going to bomb anyway.
Exactly.
And the universe isn't going to continue anyway. Just give her damn lines.
Right.
Make it at least okay.
Right.
Damn.
And then they're probably like looking at those numbers and they're like, well, he could have made at least a better movie by having her talk, you know? But it was so bizarre. But other than that, I enjoyed the movie. The visual effects were excellent. I thought Yahya Abdul-Mateen was he was so good in this movie as reprising as Black Manta, and even his conclusion was really good. And you'll appreciate it from a villain standpoint too. And I thought
stayed bad.
I mean, I can't give anything. Basically, yeah, he was a villain to the end, and I'm like, man, Chris will really respect this. Like, there was no like redemption for him, you know, and which is great because like you always praise on the fact that you want your bad guys, they just need to stay bad guys. And no version of the comics was Black Manta ever on Aquaman's side. So they couldn't even make the excuse of saying, well, they worked together in issue 34 and, you know, but no, he was always a bad guy. So that was a good part.
That's good.
But yeah, the movie was good. I think it was a nice fitting conclusion to the Snyderverse. It's unfortunate that not a lot of people saw it, but much like The Flash and Blue Beetle, HBO Max, the streaming numbers for those movies have been really good, actually. So
that's what I've been reading, man. They've been crazy, and now Netflix has gotten a hold of or put all the DC properties on their platform, and they're blowing up there too.
Yeah, oh yeah, and what's crazy is like I guess it's just the fact that people hear things about the Flash, especially, and then they don't go see it, but then they watch and they're like, oh, well, this was actually a really good movie, you know?
Yeah.
But it was just too little too late for that. But yeah, I mean, that's the first thing I saw. So what did you
It was all those undercover Marvel DC fans. They're like, we're gonna support that shit. Oh, if we just watch it at home, nobody will know.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not paying the ticket, but yeah, I guess I'll push play on Netflix. I mean, that is a good point. You know, there is something to be said for that. But yeah. So what is your what do you got?
So my first thing that I want to talk about is this little mini series that me and Tasha watched. It's from there's this whole slew of movies from these books written by Harlan Coben that are on Netflix. Murder mystery series. This is a little 8-episode series. This is the newest one called Fool Me Once.
Oh, okay.
Michelle Keegan is the main actress in this movie. It's set in UK, so it's a UK movie. This writer top 10 selling best list in the UK. Anyway, murder mystery, I'm always skeptical going into these murder mystery movies because 9 times out of 10, between me and you, we've watched so many movies. You can usually predict the end, and it's not that big of a mystery.
Yeah.
This one kind of threw me for a loop. It was actually really good. Like, I did not see it coming. So that was a good surprise with this movie. Acting was okay, so storyline was really, really good. I liked that it was a 8-episode series and not just one movie. I put some time. They were like hour-long episodes each episode. So, but man, it's one of the only murder mystery shows, movies, whatever, that like I said, like I cannot say I guessed the ending because I couldn't and I didn't. And just for that, it was great, and you should definitely give it a watch.
Nice. Yeah, I saw that advertised on there. It looked interesting. That female actress was not ugly. I was like, okay, well, what is this?
Right?
But
No,
yeah, it
it's
looked pretty
actually
good.
pretty good, man. Not too bad at all.
Okay. Well, I can't really say the exact same for this next movie, which was Killers of the Flower Moon. And oh boy,
17 hours
17
long.
hours later. And I think that you could have cut off an easy hour of that movie, but Scorsese, he's of the mindset that this could be my last movie, so I'm going all out on all of them. But it was good. It was good. It was just a little bit long. And yeah, when they say it dragged quite a bit, but the performances were good. I think that Leonardo DiCaprio was doing his best Billy Bob Thornton impression from Sling Blade, and he did a pretty good job of it. And so that was kind of interesting. But basically, it talks about how men were coming over into America, especially into Indian territory. Like this one's set in Oklahoma territory, and how they basically run off the men or something. They get rid of the men and they marry the single women because they have inherited the land. And because as a property rights, that was their property, that was their land, and that's where all the oil booms were happening, was in this particular area. So then you had these men come in. Sometimes they would kill their husbands and kill their brother, I mean kill all the men, just so that they can kind of, hey, I'll be your shoulder to cry. Well, hey, how about you marry me and then we'll be okay. And then by marriage, the man inherit the property, the land, and all this and that. And sometimes they were doing horrible shit. They were killing the women, making them sick, poisoning them. I mean, just terrible stuff. Like, this movie was brutal in that aspect. It was so
The
sad.
Wild West, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get it. And but you never really seen it from that kind of perspective. I mean, you have seen the cruelty of the Old West in many versions of things, but nothing so specific of this kind of story. I was like, damn, that's so messed up. But as far as like Leonardo DiCaprio and Lily Gladstone, who plays his wife in the movie, she was really good, man. Like, she won Best Actress at the Golden Globes, and it rightfully so. Like, her performance was fantastic. She was definitely the star of the movie, and I think and Robert De Niro is pretty good. Plays this kind of guy who, in all against his morality, he does things the wrong way, but he's trying to gaslight these people into thinking that it's the right thing, the right way to go about living in this world. Basically telling them, no, it's okay what I'm doing. I'm helping you, but he's not. I mean, that kind of person. And but yeah, overall it was good, but damn, it was long, man. I felt like a mini series. I mean, it kind of is. It's like 4 episodes right there. But
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, nominations, I'm watching and I'm like, oh yeah, this is the kind of movie that award season just loves. The period piece, the authenticism, the acting is great. And I do think that it's worthy of the accolades that it's received. But I mean, will it make my top 10? I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see.
Cool.
All right. So what do you got, man?
Well, the next one I want to talk about is recommendation by old Cinema Steve.
Oh.
watched the miniseries Obliterated.
Yes.
Oh man, let me tell you, what a wild ride, my friend.
Indeed.
It is a wild, but it is really good. If you haven't watched it yet, it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Shelley Hennig, I believe, is the main actress, main star in this one.
Uh-huh.
She's so good in this movie.
Such a babe.
She's gorgeous, and just the rest of the cast, bunch of new and upcomers and stuff. But what got me onto this is the when you told me about it, you gave me a brief rundown. This special ops team thinks they have this job all wrapped up, so they're celebrating, and there's drugs and beer, and they're just obliterated.
Right.
And then they got to go right back into the mission because the mission was not complete. And man, it's just action nonstop, and it's hilarious and shit. My only gripe.
You say grip or gripe?
No, gripe. I don't know. I don't want to offend nobody that it's a gripe, but man, there's so much penis in this movie, bro. And then I'm texting Steven while I'm watching this, and I'm like, bro, that's like 2 I've ever seen. You're like, no, you're past it. And then here comes the biggest one of the movie next up. And I'm like, fucking Steven, you dick.
Oh, that's why they call him Trump.
Jeez.
Dude, that scene was so brutal too. Like the description of that. That torture was like, ooh, freaking stuff.
Yeah, but it was bad. But
man, that was funny. I was like, whenever you said, I'm like, oh no, it was just for giggles. Yeah, they're over all that stuff, and I knew that scene was coming up, and it's just, oh my god, it was so funny. But I don't mind a little dong here and there. It's just, it doesn't bother me. We're all grown ups, but it's just like, but what's funny about how they incorporate like all the penis jokes in this show is like they're always doing something crazy, and it's funny because like you don't really see that too often. Like you rarely see male frontal nudity, but in this one, how they do it, it's like played for jokes in almost every scenario. And oh my god, I was dying laughing every time. Well, except for the trunk torture scene. That was pretty scary. But let me ask you. So, how about the twist, man? Did you guess that the party girl?
I didn't. No, I didn't.
That was crazy. And I was like, oh, she's gone already. I was starting to like the character.
I had a bit of a maybe.
Yeah,
I was like, possibly, but. If I say it out loud, people are going to think I'm dumb. And then when it happens, I'm like, fuck, I should have said that. Yep.
Yeah, because there were moments where she was like pretty clairvoyant. When you look back on, you're like, how did she know to do that? I'm like, wow, she's really lucky that this worked out that way. But then, not to give too many spoilers, but like that's kind of how it was all planned from the beginning. I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, I enjoyed it, man. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, it's definitely good. Definitely worth watching. If you don't watch it with kids around, 100%.
No. Hard R, hard NC-17, hard. Never mind. But yeah, it's
hard trunks.
I need to recommend more shows that show more male frontal nudity and not tell you, Chris.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't do that.
But
if you do, I will fly to Florida. That's your ass.
That works for me. At least I get to hang out with you. But Obliterated. That is a good one. Next one I got was Netflix's Leave the World Behind. Did you see that one by any chance?
No, but here's why. And I have to do this, and I have to admit to our audience that I didn't follow my own rules with this movie. I don't know how many times we've said on here, no matter what people say about a movie, you should always watch it if you're interested to give your own opinion.
Right.
I didn't with this movie. I've heard so much bad shit about this movie that I'm like, I don't want to watch it. So that's why I haven't watched it yet.
I think
But
it, I mean, I thought it was good. I thought that, I mean, because this is one of those situations where it benefits people that know about movies and creators and filmmakers because it allows you to be better prepared for a certain picture that you're about to watch. So, for example, I knew that this was written and directed by Sam Esmail, and he is the creator of Mr. Robot. Now, if anybody that's seen Mr. Robot knows that it's a very methodical television series. It's not an action show. It's not like some fast cyber, hacker TV show or movie. This is like more thought out, more thought processing, and it looks great. And the story is good if you just give it some time. And much like that show, uh, Leave the World Behind was somewhat similar. Like there was a lot of mystery, a lot of intrigue, and it does lead to a conclusion that a lot of people were kind of not necessarily dumbfounded about, but they didn't really understand it. And when I watched, I thought, what is there not to understand? He literally, Mahershala Ali has like a whole monologue explaining exactly what's going on. Like that's where I was kind of confused. I'm like, he literally is telling the audience exactly what's happening. And I guess it just was a little underwhelming because it doesn't really it's not a big action show. It's not like, any kind of post-apocalyptic show. There's going to be a lot of action. They're fighting other people like Walking Dead or something like that. And it's just like a kind of more of a thought processing science fiction film. And I think that's another reason why a lot of people didn't enjoy it because there's no action. It's all dialogue heavy. And that doesn't bother me. Like I like that stuff. So I guess that's why I like that movie. And there's some pretty killer Friends references in that movie just for you too, Chris. So
what?
but yeah,
I'm
and
gonna have to watch it now.
but it's one of those like, would I recommend it to people? I don't know. I would recommend it to certain people that have like a certain mindset for these types of movies, like almost like indie style. It's like independent films that, like I said, that rely on character and dialogue rather than big action. But there are some scenes in this movie where there's like, oh my God, like that was crazy. Like what a big action stunt piece that was in this movie. And
see that's what kind of throws me off the way you're talking about it, because the trailer in itself is this big action type of scene, and I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. And if this whole movie is kind of like that, then maybe worth a watch.
I guess I didn't watch the trailer, but from what you say, that's probably what's misleading people. Is they're probably just showing all the big action scenes in the trailer just to get them to watch the movie. But then when they finally watch the movie, they realize there's no action in this movie because it's not an action movie, But like I said, I enjoyed it. I don't know, like see for yourself. I don't know. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But so what do you have next?
All right, so my next movie I watched is on Netflix, I believe, as well. And it was not necessarily recommended by one of the Screen Addicts fanatics on our Facebook page, but they talked about it. So I was intrigued. And it's your friend Shay. He talked about how good Society of the Snow is.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I'll give it a watch. Man, it's a good one.
Yeah.
And, always going into these type of movies, also knowing that it's based on a true story, based on real events, real shit that happened. And this movie's about the Uruguayan soccer team that crashed in the Alps and, survived. Like 17 of them survived for 72 days, and how they had to survive and what they did to survive out in that time frame is crazy. I mean, had to resort to cannibalism, and just the stuff that went on, man. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. They, from very strong individuals for sure. And definitely, I know Shay was talking about how there's moments in this movie that it bring you to tears just because of the way they're talking and, the shit that they had to do. Yeah, it'll stir some emotion for sure. So,
well, I mean, it's basically a more budgeted remake of Alive. Do you remember Alive with Ethan Hawke and stuff? And when I saw that trailer, I was like, oh, this is Alive. Okay, I mean, and the title Society of the Snow is so much better because Alive is just kind of like a generalized term. Like that could be about anything, but the Society of the Snow, that I thought that was a much better title. And Chris, I am going to say though that if we're ever in a situation and I'm gone, you have the pleasure to eat my ass.
I do that already. If you're alive, what are you talking about?
Right. But I mean, yeah, it's definitely one of those moral gray areas, and I haven't seen it yet, but I'm gonna watch it. But I'm sure, just like in the original Alive, like there's a lot of like just perspectives on why you would or wouldn't do that. And but man, it's just one of those things, it's like it's you have to survive if you want to survive, and
yeah, and there's a kind of a big emphasis on this one character's part where he held off as long as he could. He's like,
yeah,
this is like, God will not forgive me.
yeah.
I don't see how he will. And eventually he's like to the point to where like he has to, if he wants to stay alive, this is what's got to be done.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to do it.
Well, of
Nobody
course not.
was like,
Yeah.
this is what I was here for. But sooner or later, you have to do what you have to do if you want to stay alive. And
this kind of reminds me of the discussion we had with Kevin on one of the earlier episodes about eating people. He's probably just clubbing people to get a piece.
That's right. He was all like, I wonder what it tastes like. I bet it's like... No, I don't wonder. I don't ever wonder that.
I hope I'm not in a situation where I have to find out.
No,
that's so funny.
Oh man!
But yeah, you would recommend Society of the Snow?
Yeah, actually, definitely. Especially if you liked Alive.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
this is
I
definitely
love that movie.
Just as good, if not better.
Is it foreign language, or is it it English?
It's English.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Next one I have was we actually watched a Pixar movie because Sonia and I had this discussion. I'm like, are we going to keep watching all the Pixar movies even though the kids aren't around to watch them with us? I'm like, yeah, probably, because we still like them. And we watched last year's Pixar movie Elemental, and it was cute. It wasn't one of those movies like I would never in a million years put Elemental on the same mantle as like Toy Story or The Incredibles or Monsters Inc. or Finding Nemo, and I'm watching it and I'm thinking, man, this is the same company that produced those movies. Like they're just they're running out of not necessarily ideas, but they just don't have that punch anymore where it's just, oh my God, this Pixar movie was great. It was a great movie. It wasn't just a great animated film. It was a great movie. And Elemental, like I said, it's cute. And I like the ideas that they were presenting for it about everybody like fire, water, like just how, I don't know, it was cute. But yeah, I feel like all the other Pixar movies I would suggest watching it, but it's nothing to run.
It's not bad. I mean, it was a good one watch.
You saw it?
Yeah, I watched it.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that. Yeah, I mean, it was fine.
Like I said, it's a good one watch.
Yeah,
watch it once and then you can just put it in the back catalog, say you watched
it. Say that you watched the next Pixar movie. Yeah, I totally agree. All right, so what do you got next?
All right, my friend, it's time to put on your boxing gloves.
I didn't say it because I had a feeling. Let's do it. Let's go. Ding, ding, ding.
Round one with Mr. Wonka, my
Willy
friend.
Wonka. Let's open that piece of shit chocolate factory.
No, the hell is wrong with you, man? I watched your damn review on TikTok.
Yeah.
Bro, it is a great movie. I don't know what you're talking about, man.
It was okay. I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. I thought it was fine. It was okay. I just didn't think that it was the best movie. And I hyped it up. I was the one like putting it to the roof. And I blame director Paul King. You can't give me the director of Paddington and give me something subpar, man. You just can't.
It wasn't though.
I mean, I felt like it was. I just, okay. Timothée Chalamet aside, his Wonka aside, I thought he was great Wonka. I actually liked the fact that he was presenting Willy Wonka with this more upbeat, charismatic presence. He wasn't this kind of, kind of dark and disturbed Wonka
Right.
like Depp's or Gene Wilder's, making jokes at the expense of kids potentially dying. It wasn't anything like that. And as a matter of fact, the kid that was in this movie, he was more than willing to help. And I
Right.
did love some of the aspects of it. I liked the production value. It looked great. And I just didn't like the story that it told, because when you're when you're getting a Willy Wonka origin story, I'm expecting him to actually start working on the factory. Like, spoilers, the best part of the movie is like the last 5 minutes of the movie when he's literally opening up his chocolate factory and he's starting to put it together. And that's the kind of stuff that I was anticipating to see. I didn't want to see him in a fucking laundry room for an hour and a half being someone's slave.
But he had to go through all that shit, and and because just like any other business person, you got to pay your dues, and that's what he was doing. Even with his little corner chocolate shop, which was fucking amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, it was the basis of the factory. Like, there was a lot of aspects in this chocolate shop that were played into, I'm guessing, how he built this factory. This is his vision all along, is how he wanted it to look.
Why didn't he start out with that then? I mean, he didn't have to go into the market.
Because he didn't have it. He didn't have a shit ton of money. I mean, you think he's just going to shit chocolate money and build a huge ass factory?
Well, spoilers, since we're going to talk about it. I mean, he lost the store, that first one he started, which was really nice.
Insurance money.
How is he going to claim it? Any bank isn't going to give him any kind of federal right to it. And my other issue that I had was like the three chocolatiers, like the other three companies, right? They all work in this like triangular mafia of chocolate producers. And I'm thinking, okay, well, why don't they just include him in? Because clearly they're not opposed to working with another chocolate factory head or another producer of chocolate. And I'm thinking,
but that's the thing, is that there was only one. There was one main guy, and he only brought those other two dumbasses in because he could control them.
I suppose, but then I mean,
that's exactly how it was.
But he didn't pitch Wonka. Like, he didn't even pitch it to him. He just immediately saw him as a threat
because he knew he was a threat. Those other guys weren't no fucking threat. Those other guys were dumb as hell.
I don't know, man. The one that was giving serial killer vibes could have taken him out at any point. And then, like, I don't know. I just think like there were a lot of talent in that movie that was just wasted. Like Olivia Colman, her character was just, I don't know. And the whole thing with the Peruvian king or the baklava king, I don't even know what he was. Like, it was like with his short shorts. And I'm just like, this is so stupid. And then
it was funny as shit.
And then Keegan-Michael Key, bro, for the first time in his career, was not funny. I was
that is the one I'll give you. Keegan-Michael Key, I thought was downplayed so much in this. Like, he could have been so much more.
Right.
It was funny to watch him get fatter because, like, I mean, you get the chocolate addiction, man.
But it's a one-note joke, It's like he just gets bigger every time you see him. And okay, and another thing, the music wasn't good. The songs weren't good. Like, they were written by like a 5-year-old, dude. I just didn't like when I walked out of, like Greatest Showman or Barbie or even Super Mario Brothers, like the movie, this music in the movie, it was like catchy. It was like in your head. You were singing it. I can't even remember a single song from that movie other than Pure Imagination, only because that was popular in the original version. But I just didn't think the music was all that good. I thought that, like, the song that they sing with the cop, like, that was terrible. The one that he sings with the girl, what do you call her? I forgot. I already forgot her. Catchy. I don't even know. It was, but
catchy.
I don't even know. I was like, well, I'll tell you what wasn't catchy was the damn songs in the movie. But she was okay, I guess. I kind of felt like at times she was doing okay, and other times I'm like, all right, whose producer's kid is this? Because she's not very good. I'm telling you, man. I just did not. And this isn't. Noodle, yeah, Noodle. That's something dumb. Like, come on, like this is so
Noodle?
stupid.
It's a cute little nickname for a kid, bro.
Okay,
Come
and then
on.
another thing, like with the Oompa Loompas, like Hugh Grant was great. I loved everything that he was doing in that movie. And then I'm like, okay, let's just go to Oompa Land. Let's go there. Let's see him working things out with people. Let's see him producing chocolate.
Movie. Next movie, because he doesn't even have a factory. At the end of the movie is when he got the factory.
Yeah.
So now he's got to go get somebody to run the factory.
Well, let me tell you,
that'll be the next movie.
That should have been this damn movie. That's what I was expecting to see. That's exactly what I wanted to see, and I didn't see it.
But you got to set up the factory. You can't just fucking have a factory.
Building the
you can't
Wonkaverse.
just be like fucking. No, why not build a Wonkaverse? Everybody wanted it, and Timothy Chalamet's damn good at it. Give him the second one.
I was saying, like, I think his Wonka should have been in a better movie with a better story. That's all I'm saying. So I guess, like you're saying, if they're gonna build a sequel to it, because this one did moderately okay at the box office, it didn't do too bad, but I think with a sequel, okay, fine. Then the sequel is the one that I'm hoping to see, because that's what I was hoping to see in this one and didn't. But and
I'm so gonna get a lot of hate for this right now.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm about to say,
yeah,
because it's like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The first one fucking boring, but it sets everything up. This one has to set everything else up, man.
I like how you're comparing Wonka.
I know, that's why I'm gonna get all the. That's why I'm going to get all this hate.
You're going to start with me.
Just saying,
because that's ridiculous.
But in a storytelling, laid out type of way, you have to have this somewhat mediocre beginning, and he has to start from somewhere. You're just expecting this movie to take off from, he's already got this huge ass factory that probably cost millions and millions to build.
Where did he get the money?
Where the fuck did he get the money? He did laundry and fucking drowned the chocolate mafia, bro. Come on.
So okay. What if we don't get the sequel? What if we never get it and we're stuck with this one? Then I'm going to come back and tell you how much of a piece of shit that it was. And now there's no conclusion to this story. But it wasn't even a piece of shit. That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't hate it or dislike it. It just
no. But you're hating on it.
I'm hating on
same shit.
But I'm also I gave it some positives too. I said
no. You gave one positive, Timothy Chalamet. That's the only positive you gave.
I said the production value is good. And spoilers. I did like the way that the golden ticket was introduced into his life and why that's such an important aspect to him. With when his mom, he finally opens up the chocolate bar that he was saving from his mom, and she had that golden ticket wrapped in there. I was like, okay, that's what I'm talking. That's more of what I need. And of course, it comes in the last 5 damn minutes of the movie. You know what? The last 5, maybe 10 minutes of that movie, amazing, breathtaking, exactly what I wanted. That's the best.
Where do you think he got the money for the damn factory? That ticket was made out of actual gold, and he sold that shit.
He sold the gold, man. It must have been pretty profitable. But I don't know. I was just a little disappointed with it. I mean, it wasn't that I held my expectations too high.
I think you did. All you had was Paddington in your damn head.
And Paddington 2, which is far superior. I mean, you got 2 right there, Paul King, and then you lost me on the 3rd. And he's not even doing Paddington 3, but then after watching Wonka, I'm kind of glad he's stepping aside. But, I mean, it was okay. Again, not the worst.
No, it was great. It was better than Depths.
Oh, well, I mean, sure. I can see the argument
as Wilder's.
Well, I mean, that's just sacrilegious right there. No way, not even close. You know who they should have got? They should have got Carmy to play Wonka because he looks exactly like Gene Wilder. Have you ever noticed that? There's even a meme going around where you put Carmy next to Jeremy Allen White next to Gene Wilder, and they're like, the meme is like, you two aren't ready to have this conversation. Because I'm like, holy shit, they do look exactly alike.
They do,
but
it's the hair.
It's definitely the hair for sure.
Definitely
But
the hair.
I would wait to see Wonka at Max, but you would recommend people to go to the theater. That's where we are on the.
Absolutely.
Okay, fair
That's
enough.
where we're at.
That's okay. I think that's fine. That we can't agree on everything. Actually, the one that I wanted to talk to you about, because I didn't know if you did you watch Rebel Moon?
I did.
What did you think of that?
It was bullshit. I hated it.
See, and I thought it was pretty good.
It was so boring, bro.
What?
You want to talk about shitty story?
No.
Shitty story.
How could it be a shitty story? It was a complete ripoff of Star Wars.
Yeah, a shitty ripoff.
I mean, I thought it was, dude. I'm such a Zack Snyder shill, man. I can't help it.
Dude,
I just love everything he does.
I love if Zack Snyder could just be a cinematographer. Great.
Yeah,
that is his power. That is his wheelhouse.
right.
Like visuals is his thing because that movie is freaking beautiful.
Yeah,
like almost every damn scene in that movie could be a damn poster.
Sure,
it is gorgeous.
The wallpaper movie for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But how fast you rush this damn movie, I couldn't get on board with it.
Well, it's almost like it could have benefited from being a mini series. Like, why did it have to be
100%.
2 movies? Like, I think we were watching. I was like, man, like every character that you meet to join their little resistance. I was like, man, they could have had like a whole 40-minute episode of this character and their backstory and stuff. But
yeah, like that Asian girl that's like the freaking swordsman,
the fire swords or
ninja. Yeah. Oh, dude, I'd love to learn more about her.
Right. Or even that bird rider guy. Like, and I guess that is a really good point that you make. I'm watching some of the things, and of course, like filled with Zack Snyder slow motion shots, and I'm like, do I like this movie because it just looks great, or am I like, I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. That Sophia Boutella though, I'm still not really on board with her as an actress. Like, she was in Kingsman, she was in The Mummy, she was the mummy in The Mummy with the Tom Cruise mummy, and she's been in other things too. But I'm like, man, somebody really likes her because they put her as the lead in like 3 or 4
big
films,
roles.
right? Huge. Oh, and she was the villain in Star Trek Beyond, or was it Star Trek Into Darkness? Maybe it was Into Darkness. No, Beyond. It was hell, one of the two. But she was one of the main villains in that, and I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, she's really popular, but she's not that great of an actress, and I don't know, but I thought I enjoyed it. I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to end in part 2, I guess, because that's the conclusion is in April.
I'll definitely watch the second one, but I'm just like, I'm like you. I think I more liked it and was more like, I have to keep watching it just because it's so visually stimulating and amazing.
Sure.
It could definitely use a little bit better storytelling.
Yeah.
But
okay. Well, what do you have any more? Or because I've got a couple more. Okay.
I got a couple more too. Next thing, Reacher.
Oh man, so good,
dude!
It's so good.
It is so good. Like, it pisses me off that I can't watch it all
at once. Yeah,
release the whole damn thing. I hate waiting a week now.
Yeah,
but that, and we've talked about this, so I'm going to go with another one just because we're not talking a lot about Reacher. I started 2 days ago and already done with both seasons. Well, season and a half of Invincible.
Oh, yes.
And I started to watch this because of they won Golden Globes for it.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, Steven
Yeun. Yeah,
Steven Yeun won like best voiceover, best for this.
Damn, and he won the Golden Globe for Beef. Did you see that? He won Best Actor for Beef. That's awesome.
Beef is fucking amazing.
It won Best miniseries, like streaming series. And Ali Wong won for that. Yeah, man. I forgot to mention Beef, but yeah, I didn't realize he won for Invincible too, man. That guy's having a hell of a year.
Dude. But Invincible's so good.
Yeah, man. It's badass, dude. Like, it's a great story. The action is incredible. That first episode, I was shocked jaw-droppingly shocking stuff at the very end. When spoilers, I guess. I mean, if you've seen Invincible, you've probably already watched it, and if you haven't, I doubt you will. But when Omni-Man just wipes out everybody, I was like, what? Because I didn't read the comics. I don't know anything about the story. I'm not, I didn't read a lot of Kirkman stuff, but so I'm not familiar with the story, so I didn't know what was going to happen. So I see Omni-Man. I'm like, oh, this is kind of like your Superman. Cool. He's got a family. His son and, Mark's got superpowers too. This is cute. It's like Sky High or something. Which I rewatched that again, and damn, that holds up. But yeah, so Omni-Man is no Kurt Russell in Sky High. This dude is psychotic. And it's not necessarily because he's psychotic. It's just because of his alien race. It's kind of like a Kryptonian, like Zod. Like all he knows is world conquering, and he kind of settled down and accidentally created a family, but yet he still, as a Viltrumite, has to annihilate a civilization. And but man, when he killed that team, I was just and how he did it was just so brutal.
Dude, just nasty.
Yeah.
Like, I started watching this with my little one, and this shit goes on. I'm like, bro, you gotta go. I was like, this ain't not a regular cartoon, man.
No,
like, I mean, we watch anime together, and every now and then
some anime can be pretty gory.
Drops, and they drop some F-bombs here and there.
Yeah.
And like,
he hears worse at school. Yeah, I was like, he probably hears worse from his daddy.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, we can get back past the cussing, but damn, when that scene hits and it's just brutal, I'm like, no.
And I mean, and it's like that throughout the whole show. Like a lot of the violence is just
really is.
But then the finale of season 1, when Mark and Omni-Man are fighting, I was just like, damn, this is horrible. Like, I felt so bad for Invincible, man. I was like, this is just so sad. Like, it's like your old pops just beating the shit out of you, man. It's
beating the living shit out of you, dude.
Like, it's so bad. But even this season, like, it's great. And you know what sucks is, like, this was a situation where, and you're caught up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like, and I'm not going to spoil anything because in case people are still watching the season, but there's a scene where Mark and his girlfriend are in her college dorm, right? And Sonya happens to walk in on that scene, and she's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "Oh my god!" The one time you come in, and the one time they actually talk about sex on the show, like the show is like violent and profane, but never sex. And then the one time you come in, I mean, one of the characters always talks about nasty shit, but it's just like, I'm like, they're actually doing it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. She's like, is this like that hentai stuff? I was like, no, that's like XXX animation. But yeah, and I was like kind of, blushing at that fact. But yeah, so there's the first 4 is out for season 2 right now. And I guess when did the next one start coming in? Do you know?
Late or early this year is what I've read. Because
probably like March or April or something.
I didn't even know that it was only the first half of the second season.
Oh, okay.
So
you must have been pissed.
Oh, dude, I was so mad. I'm
like, only 4?
Where the fuck is the rest of the season?
Yeah,
I know. I know. I paid my Prime membership. Shit.
Yeah, they're waiting for you to have to pay more to release the next ones.
Yeah. Don't give them that idea, Steve.
I mean, I was just kidding. But yeah, it's great. That's a great show. Good call. Yep. Speaking of great shows, like I was watching the newest season of Fargo, and our friend Ray was asking, he's like, is that show any good? I'm like, oh dude, I guess he saw one of my Instagram stories where I posted about how season 5 is like one of the best seasons of the entire show so far. And he was, and Ray, he was like, is that show any good? I'm like, oh, is it? Yeah, it's great. So then he started binging like all of them. I'm like, yeah, I told you, it's really good. And season 5, man, it's probably one of the best of the show. And the good thing about Fargo is that you can pick a season and it doesn't matter. It's like they're all different, new storylines and everything. But new season of Fargo is really good. Oh, did you see Saltburn? You haven't watched that yet, have you?
I haven't.
You gotta watch it. No, please watch it. I'm not gonna talk about it because if you watch it,
if you're this excited for me to watch it, there's some fucked up shit.
No,
you're a liar right now. You're a fucking liar.
You don't have to watch it, Chris. You might not even like it.
Bro.
I didn't really care for it. I thought it sucked. I wouldn't waste my time.
You're the worst liar ever.
Yeah, because I don't lie to my friends. What an asshole. But no, that's definitely one of those movies where I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could have a camera on the Chris cam, turn it on. Oh dude, there's like scenes in that, like I would never spoil it, but there's like on TikTok, I saw the scene, and all it is the bathtub scene. That's what they call it, is the bathtub scene. And people were showing, not the movie, but reactions of people to that scene, right? And people are just like, just shocked. And there's a part with a bathtub, and I'm like, oh, that's it. That's okay. That's not a big deal. But then that wasn't it. And then when it happens, I was like, oh wow, okay, yeah, that's the bathtub scene. And dude, please watch it.
See,
it's so crazy.
No, I can't be doing this shit, because the last time TikTok made me watch a show, because all these people were having a fucking reaction to a scene, and it was that type of reaction.
Yeah.
I saw like a fucking 13-inch dong in the shower.
Was it shrunk from obliterated?
No, it was. This was like.
Oh wait, was it that 365 or something? Like in the shower, the guy's in the shower and he's wearing. And he said that it wasn't a prosthetic, but then the guy who made the prosthetic was like, "No, I made it for him. Don't let him lie to you."
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That movie or that show, like Tasha's all, we've got to see what this whole big thing is like. All right, we'll see. No, bro. I will not let TikTok do that to me again.
I will be 100% honest with you. It doesn't involve any male genitalia. I promise you, it does not. I promise. The bathtub scene does not show any male genitalia. I promise. So you're safe to watch it. You're safe to watch it. Please watch
Steven,
it.
Steven, I swear, man.
I'm begging you, please, Chris. You have to watch. And it's just a good movie anyway. I thought it was really good. It's kind of like a remake of The Talented Mr. Ripley, if you ask me. But
I mean, I watched the trailer. It looks interesting.
It is good.
It's just I'm nervous, man. I'm nervous about it.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right. Let you and Tasha watch it together. Hold hands. Make a romantic evening out of it.
It doesn't look like a romantic movie, Steven.
I mean, it depends on your perspective of romance. But it is a good movie. Yeah, I was surprised it wasn't nominated for more awards. Like that seemed to be a movie that would generate a lot more nominations. Like Barry Keoghan got nominated, which is good because I mean, he is the backbone of that movie. But yeah, so Saltburn, and then I have one more. So if you want to finish after this one,
I'm done.
Oh, you're done? Okay.
Go ahead.
And the last one that I wanted to talk about that I had recently watched was The Iron Claw.
Ooh.
Man, that is a great movie. It did take some liberties of the story because much like yourself, like we grew up in Amarillo, Texas, and it's part of the whole wrestling territories there in Texas, and the Von Erich family would come through Amarillo, they come through Dallas, like they went all around Texas wrestling. And so even if we weren't old enough to watch them in person, like we had parents or grandparents that loved the Von Erich family. So that whole family and their legacy was so tightly rooted to where, to Dallas and just close to areas we grew up. And so then the tragedy of the Von Erich family and what they went through. And it's on full showcase in this movie. And the thing about this movie is that it's more like Mickey Rourke's The Wrestler, where it tells more of a character story rather than, something like Fighting with My Family or, some kind of action, version of wrestling where like, oh, this is a wrestling movie, but with family. And I wouldn't even say that it's kind of like Stephen Amell's Heels on Stars. Like it's about the business, about how they do things. Yeah, there's like no kayfabe whatsoever. Like it just shows how the family, and even back in that time, how they lived their gimmicks. Like they lived their lives as the Von Erichs, these heroes, and just the downfall of the family and what happens to all of them. And it's funny because I've been watching on TikTok a lot of people like going into seeing this movie blind, not knowing who the family is, not knowing the story. And what's hilarious is like they all come out crying, like they're bawling. And it's sad. And personally, if I didn't know the outcome of this story, if I hadn't heard so many different versions of their family legacy story, and I'm just watching this movie, oh dude, yeah, I was like, damn, this is heavy shit. Because I've talked to people who know nothing about wrestling, and they saw this movie, and they were like, oh my god, that was awful. Like, that is so sad. And then I have to tell him, like, well, they also had one more brother, a little brother that wasn't even in the movie. And I had to look up to see why they would leave out one of the brothers. And the director, Sean Durkin, was like, oh man, it's just like, it's already unbelievable to tell the story of how it was, and to add Chris, the little brother, into this. It just almost would be, it was just too much emotionally for everybody. And it would have been unbelievable to assume that happened to all of these kids. And it was so sad. And dude, Zac Efron is built like a brick shit house in this movie. Like, he is jacked to the gills, bro. And man, and he did a great job, just an absolute great. I don't think I've ever seen a movie where Zac Efron was in such a commanding performance like he was in this movie. And I'm kind of sad that
Baywatch.
17 again. Oh wait, no, what was that one where he was dead, or his little brother was Charlie St. Cloud?
There you go.
No, but like, I've never seen him in a performance like this. And I mean, it was funny because like, he plays Kevin Von Erich, one of the older brothers, and I think he was the oldest at the time. And like, physically speaking, he wasn't that jacked. He looked more like the Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich, who was played by Jeremy Allen White from The Bear. And so that's why when you see Carmy in The Bear, like, looking jacked up, like, man, even Sonny was like, God, he's got pretty big muscles for a chef. I'm like, well, it's because he's training to be in the Iron Claw right now. Like, they're filming simultaneously. So he's got to look like a jacked wrestler. But then, well, I mean, he's also a cook. So it's like, what can he do? But yeah, the movie's just such a great movie, and I highly recommend anybody watching it. It's like how I pitch like Friday Night Lights to people. Like, I say, you don't have to be a football fan to enjoy Friday Night Lights, just like you don't have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy the Iron Claw. Because the funny thing about people who are really responding to the Iron Claw emotionally are like young kids, like younger girls too. Like, a lot of females have been posting TikToks about how yeah, so we're gonna go see this movie Iron Claw. People are saying it's sad, don't know what it's about, and they're like, oh my god, it's the worst movie. It's just, the emotional response to it is so big, and it deserves to be so. So I highly recommend everybody see the Iron Claw. You want to talk about top 10? That one like shot up to the list, bro, easily on the top 10. So good.
You know what's funny to me is, like, we know the story, like you were saying.
Yeah.
We know what happened and to the family and everything, and it's always funny to me. It's kind of what I call like the Titanic effect.
Yeah,
like, people came out of that movie crying.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, why? You knew the damn ending, bro. And that's the kind of response I give to some of these people going to watch this movie. It's so sad. I was like, why is it so sad? You know that, like, and then I got to realize that like you said, not everybody knows the story like we know the story, just because we were so close to it, like you said, being in Texas and all around here with Terry Funk too, just it's funny to me,
dude. That's actually a perfect association to make, is like with Titanic, because you knew the damn thing was going to sink, but there wasn't a dry eye in the house. And so, like, even if you knew about the Von Erichs, the way that the movie is presented, the way that it ends, and there is one particular scene in the movie, like at the end, well, I guess there's two that really trigger an emotional response, unless you're dead or a robot. And it's just so like,
Jeremy wouldn't cry.
Jeremy's like, you wimps. He's like, body slam someone, damn it. No, but there were two scenes in particular that I won't share because they're massive spoilers, but I'm like, okay, this could have been really, really corny, but then it turned out to be like really, really sad. So kudos to them. But yeah, I highly recommend the Iron Claw to everybody. My mom, she loved the Von Erich. She had such a crush on Kevin Von Erich.
Mine too.
And she says, she goes, I don't know. That Zac Efron was too big. Carrie was taller and thinner and skinnier. He had muscles, but I'm like, Ma, let me stop you right there before you go into too much detail about how he looked in his trunk.
Physique.
Yeah. And so, but that was her one argument. I'm like, so what did you think of the rest of the movie? She's like, oh, I thought it was really good. And then she was the one who was even like, Oh, but it was weird that they didn't have Chris there. I thought Chris, why did they do that? And I'm like, actually, I don't even know why he omitted him completely. I have to look up why. And then that's how I got the answer that I did, because I did some research on it. But yeah, man, Iron Claw, highly recommend. And that's all I got for this week. Whew.
For this month.
This month, yeah.
This is a
Yeah,
month
I guess the last
worth
month,
of.
yeah.
I mean, we went over an hour just over recently watched. So.
I told you, man, you add in headlines and a topic, forget it. This would have been like a 3-hour episode.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I'm glad. I mean, we've watched a lot, and hopefully we've given some good recommendations. Sure. I know a lot of people right now, there's a lot of new stuff coming out, some older stuff that you may have not watched, and maybe you'll watch it now because of Steven's recommendations.
Or Chris's recommendations.
I don't know about mine. I just watch yours and get highly upset.
Dude, I'm telling you, Saltburn is not that bad. It's on Prime for free right now. You better jump on it.
I know.
And film yourself during the bathtub scene for me, please.
Okay, text me. Do you know the timestamp?
I will happily go back and look just for. I'm not gonna watch the scene again, but I will happily go. Yeah, I might watch it. I'm a freak, but I'll happily go back and look and see.
Send me the timestamp, and I will record me and Tasha's reaction to this.
Thank you. This is gonna be good. I can't wait. Dude, that's the shit that goes viral on TikTok, bro. Because you can tell when people are faking stuff. Because on TikTok, like with the Saltburn, there, the bathtub scene, like one of the, I guess, a guy or girl, whoever, they were like, so I got to pick the family movie to watch during the holidays.
Oh,
so
shit.
I picked Saltburn. And then she's like, here's the bathtub scene. And she has the camera on her family. And the family is just like, just, it's so funny. And it's stuff like that. You try to emulate those reactions for videos, but you just can't replicate natural reactions like that. That's why that they're real. But yeah, man, I can't wait. I'll look and see.
We'll see.
Yeah. I can't wait.
Anyway, on that note, guys, thank you for joining us on our first episode of 2024. The Screen Addicts podcast is now going on 8 years.
This is year 8, man.
8 years. Don't see us stopping anytime soon. It's fun. As long as we can get off our lazy asses and record.
We're post-holidays. I think we'll be okay now.
Yeah, a little holiday weight was weighing us down. It's fine. But guys, thank you always for joining us and listening. We really, really appreciate you, and just it's been fun, and I hope it continues to be fun for everybody, just like it is for us. So wherever you're listening, whether it's Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, any of the podcast platforms, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We'd love for you to get all the notifications when we drop new episodes. So make sure you do that. And then while you're there, go ahead and leave us a review. We'd love to hear what you think of the show, whether it's a 5-star review, which we would love. But with every good comes bad. And if you have complaints, just DM Steven. He'll love it.
I will happily disregard them.
And then on over to the social media platforms. Just look up the Screen Addicts podcast, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, any of those, and look for our little cover art that you see here with the show, and give us a follow. Steven is always doing some great movie reviews, except for the Wonka one, which was kind of shit, but whatever. And he is dropping movie news on our TikTok and Instagram and all of that stuff. So make sure and give us a follow there. And then head over to Facebook and then request to join our private group over there called the Screen Addicts Fanatics. If you'll look up Screen Addicts Fanatics, that is usually where we are most active. And we have a really good active fan base dropping all the things, trailers and movie news and TV news and memes that you can steal and post on your own. So go over there, check it out, become one of our fanatics. We'd love for you to. And then, guys, as long as you're here with us, also go out and follow and subscribe to Steven's newest project called Real Problems. If it's behind the scenes stuff you want to hear about movies and all the actual real REAL problems that happen on movie sets, this is the show for you, man. I'm telling you, all the episodes he's dropped so far, a bunch of stuff that I've never even heard. So it's definitely a lot of information, a lot of entertaining information about movies and what can go on during scenes and sets and everything like that. So go give that a follow, give it a listen. It's a great show. I think other than that, Steven, you got anything else, man?
No, man, you said it all.
Cool. So as for me, good night.
Adios, amigos.